It's a well-known fact that Blackpool Pleasure Beach weren't too happy when Thorpe Park took the UK's tallest roller coaster from them. So, as you'd expect, the park have been lightly teasing of a brand new ride in the future, especially with the closure of Grand Prix. So let's take a look at Blackpool Pleasure Beach's potential new coaster for 2026 or 2020, or maybe 2028, 2027. So here's the space that we're playing with, and for a park that's quite tight on space, there's actually quite a lot to play with here. So obviously we've got the whole of that Grand Prix area, but also the Millennial Dome, which used to have this this spinny thing. That spinny thing was removed, and it was basically replaced with arcades up until around 2018, where they just boarded it up and started advertising the hotels. Also to the left, there's this Planet Rock building, which is just sat there. It used to have a set of walters called the Black Hole. Where have I heard that before closing in 2005? Now slowly making our way to the front of the park, there's the hub, which is useless. Get rid. There's also opposite this row of food places and bars, but they're only shipping containers, so can easily just be removed. Then behind Alice in Wonderland, there's this mini AstroTurf land area, which once again can be used. And behind these is a car park, which once again we can get rid of. And of course you've got all of the whole Bolliger area as well, which is the arcade, which is seen better days. Now this is where it gets interesting. Could Blackpool Pleasure Beach potentially use a small plot of land by Ice Blast to make the coaster longer? There's quite a bit of space in that front plaza, so potentially we could have the coaster running along there. Already this is a pretty big area, and not even factor in some of the Grand Prix layout. I would perhaps say that the station could potentially be positioned where Grand Prix station was, because it's probably the bigger end of the plot of lands that we have, and the coaster could dispatch and head towards River Caves and then come back round and obviously come back to the station. So we have our potential ride layout, but what could the actual coaster be, and who will be the lucky manufacturer? RMC 2027. No, but let's think about this logically. Blackpool Pleasure Beach have a very strong bond between Mack rides with Avalanche and Icon, and we know Amanda Thompson quite likes Mack as a manufacturer, and they've done quite a few rides at Pleasure Beach, so potentially on the cards. But we also haven't seen a B&M at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, so potentially could be going out there doing something a bit different for the park. And I actually want to start with B&M because I feel like it'd be such a good fit for the park. We all know that B&Ms are crowd pleasers, and they do what they say. Flying coaster is going to make you fly, a dive coaster is going to make you, yeah, you guessed it, dive. I think that Blackpool Pleasure Beach will go down the thrill route with this coaster because it just makes sense. I feel like they've got to put a thrill ride in order to make it stand out. I think a family ride is on the cards for the future, but right now I think Blackpool Pleasure Beach needs that big thrill coaster to get more people to the park, get more people to Blackpool, and of course make more ticket sales. But what B&M could we potentially see at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? Well, there's loads that they could go for because they haven't got one, but I would definitely like to see a dive coaster. Imagine a dive coaster going around all through this layout, kind of have the drop by the hub area, then have quite a good layout like Oblivion at Alton Towers. It has an amazing drop, but the rest of the layout is non-existent. I could definitely see a 3-row flawless B&M dive coaster coming to Pleasure Beach. I think it would really make sense. I mean, Big One already has a drop, but also having another drop that's basically vertical, I think will be really, really good for the park, and getting more people in, and it's going to make a great first impression, especially if it's near the entrance to the park, near the fountains. Potentially they could go for like a normal flawless coaster or normal sitting B&M, but there's just not enough selling point for that. There's some coasters that I don't think Pleasure Beach would go for is the Hyper Coaster, because we already have the big one, which is similar. It's got loads of hills. I don't think Pleasure Beach would go for the flying coaster. I just can't see them going for that. And I think with this new coaster, Pleasure Beach will be looking for that marketing. Any way they can get UK's first, UK's only, UK's this, that. They will be looking for a marketing point to get people to the park, because I don't think they're in the position to just build a coaster and not have any kind of UK's first. I think they will have that, especially with a bit of rivalry between Thorpe Park and Pleasure Beach. Guys, calm down, calm down. You're both in the same industry, calm down. Potentially they could go for the inverted or wing coaster, but once again, I just can't see them going for this. I think B&M is a very expensive manufacturer, and of course right now I don't think the park's doing great, so it's expensive. Introducing the premier ride Skyrocket. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Do you know what? These aren't bad rides. I would like to see one in the UK. Introducing Intamin. Yes, we need more of these in the UK. Would Pleasure Beach go with Intamin? We don't know. I don't know. But I do know that it's probably unlikely that we'll see another launch coaster at Pleasure Beach with Intamin, because obviously they've already got Icon. I could bet my house that we're not going to see an Intamin multi-dimensional coaster. There's no space. Intamin Hot Racer, could potentially see it happen. Doesn't take a large footprint, but those one-seater carriages, oh, the queue is going to be big. I think something that's off the cards completely for Pleasure Beach is another wooden coaster. I think they've already got enough wooden coasters to maintain at this point, and having another one will just be, just add wood to the fire. Now heading over to Blackpool Pleasure Beach's absolute favourite, Mack. I think it's probably the most likely manufacturer that Pleasure Beach would go for, and a coaster that I think Pleasure Beach could, I'm not certain, but I don't know, this is probably my prediction, is a Mack Xtreme spinning coaster. We don't have any of these in the UK. The closest we're getting is Spinball Whizzer. But no, we don't have any of these in the UK. And do you know what? Enthusiasts love them, and I'm sure the general public as well love them. Plopsaland, of course, has one of these, and it looks amazing. I want to go and ride it. It's people's favourite coaster. It looks so good. But to have one at Pleasure Beach, I think would be, obviously it's the UK's first, I think it'll do very well for the park. You could have it kind of weave in and out around the fountains, around the front of the park, around the Grand Prix area, around the Bolliger and all that area. And I think this could be such a big hit for the park. Silver Dollar City also has one as well over in America somewhere. And they just look like amazing rides. And I think it would go down so well at Pleasure Beach. They just got one of these. It doesn't have to be as extreme as the others that we've seen. Maybe a little launch in there, maybe a drop and some elements as well. It doesn't have to be super extreme, but just to have one here in the UK would be incredible. And I think this is probably my personal prediction on what I would like to see come to Pleasure Beach. Whether it does or not, I'm not sure, but I think this would go down so well at the park, and it would definitely get enthusiasts to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. But of course, theme parks aren't there just to serve enthusiasts, and this coaster will also cater generally so well to general public as well. It's such a unique coaster, and I think there's genuinely like so much Pleasure Beach could do with the layout, especially with the compactness of the park. They could have it weaving in and out different rides around like Ghost Train and around, just there's so much potential with this. I would genuinely love to see this at Pleasure Beach, and my personal wants at Pleasure Beach is to have one of these. It would be epic. Please, Amanda, please. No, but there we go. There is my predictions on what could be coming to Blackpool Pleasure Beach in the next few years, in potentially 2026, 2027. That's it. These are just predictions, so don't hate on me if none of these do actually come to Pleasure Beach. And it's like an SNS shot and drop 2.0. But overall, to sum up this, I think Mack is a very likely manufacturer. I think B&M isn't really. I think it's a bit expensive. But who knows? I'm just a boy sitting in my room talking about something that I have no idea about. Thanks for watching.